Much love, and welcome back to Origami. So today we're going to be folding another modular origami model, and this is the moving cubes. Now this origami model can be scaled up depending on how many cubes you want to make. You can make it with 4, like a 2x2, 3x3, and so on and so forth. But we're going to be focusing on a 3x3 version of this modular origami moving cubes. As you can see, they can move this way. And in order to make this, we are going to need 9 different cubes, modular cubes that we'll be linking together. So we'll also need 9 pieces of origami paper, preferably a 6x6, but you can scale up to any size that you prefer. All right, I'm going to be showing you how to create one modular cube. And then, of course, you'd have to repeat that another 8 times. And then I'll be showing you the process of linking the cubes together. All right, let's begin. First, we're going to start with our piece of 6x6 origami paper. We're going to first start by creating a 5x5 grid on our piece of origami paper. So let's begin. In order to do that, we're going to make some initial creases just so we have some reference points in order to create this 5x5 grid. We're first going to start with taking the bottom edge, folding it up to meet the top edge, but we're only going to be folding about 2 fingers width over right here at the midline, about 2 fingers, 1, 2, that's it. And we're going to unfold, and this should be the crease that's made. Then we're going to get the bottom edge again, and we're going to fold it up to that crease we just made, and we're just going to do 1 finger pinch right here and unfold. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a line between this point here and this bottom right corner. And we're going to be to do that, we're going to be folding this edge up. And we want this corner to touch this midline right here. So I want the corner to touch the midline, 1. And then 2, I want to create a line, crease, like so, from this point here all the way down to the corner over here. But we don't have to crease it the entire way. We're just gonna slightly crease about, I'd say about 2 thumbs width over here, and then unfold. All right, so now we have this sort of slanted line over here. Next step is we're gonna be taking this bottom right corner and we're gonna fold it up to meet the opposite corner. And we're only going to be folding about, again, 2 thumbs width from the corner down. All right, so we're not going to fold the complete diagonal, just about 2 thumbs width. Then unfold. And as you can see now, we have an intersection point between the 2 lines that we created. Hope you guys can see that. And from that intersection point, and I'll mark it so you guys can see it a little bit better. This intersection point is going to help us create the 5x5 grid. So first, we're going to rotate the paper a quarter clockwise. Then we're going to take the bottom edge and fold it up to where those 2 lines intersect. And then you're going to make your first crease. Then we're going to unfold. And we're going to fold this bottom edge to the crease we just made. Then we're going to unfold. We're going to rotate the model 180 degrees. And then we're going to fold the bottom edge to this top crease here. We're going to unfold. And lastly, we're going to fold the bottom edge to the crease we just made. And unfold. Now I want us to rotate the paper counterclockwise, about a quarter. And now we're going to repeat the process, but now we're still going to start using this reference point right here, where we're going to fold this bottom edge so that it meets to where that intersection point is. Unfold. Now we're going to fold the bottom edge to the crease we just made. And unfold. Then we're going to rotate the paper 180 degrees. And now we're going to fold the bottom edge to our previously made crease up here. Unfold. And now we're going to fold the bottom edge to our last made crease. And unfold. So now we've created a 5x5 grid. Now we're going to make some initial pre-creases before we start assembling our modular cube. So first, I'm going to have us rotate the model 180 degrees. And as you can see in this top right corner, we have a diagonal kind of already made, which I'm going to indicate right here. Diagonal crease is already made. What we're going to be doing is making some initial creases, and I'm going to mark them out for you. We're going to have an X here, 2 diagonals in this unit, and then we're also going to have just 1 diagonal in this unit. Now this these top creases are kind of going to mirror the bottom creases. As you can see, I'm going to be doing 1 crease here like so. I'm going to be doing an X in the middle. And then I'm also going to be doing a diagonal crease like so. Those are going to be our pre-creases that we need to make. Now when making these pre-creases, I always focus on each square unit as its own unit, right? So whenever we're folding a diagonal, we're only focusing on those units as its own square. So let's first start with this corner piece. So I fold it over and make that diagonal. I'm going to repeat that on this middle X, where I'm going to focus on just folding that unit. And I'm going to also fold it the other direction as well. And then I'm just going to fold this unit, just 1 diagonal. Now I'm going to repeat that on the bottom edge. I'm going to fold this diagonal, fold these 2 diagonals like so, and then finally fold this diagonal. All right, now we have those pre-creases made. What we're going to be doing is flipping the entire model over. All right, and we're going to be doing what we call a pleat fold, 2 pleat folds to be exact. So in order to do a pleat fold, we're only going to be focusing on not this first crease here, but we're going to be focusing on this second crease. So what we're going to be doing is you're going to pinch your model so that that second crease folds up, and you can pinch it like this, and then we're going to fold that piece of the model up so that it meets the crease above it. You see this crease right here? We're going to be folding it up so that it meets that line. And then make your fold. All right, now we're going to rotate the model 180 degrees and repeat that step. Again, we're going to pinch our model on that second crease from the top. And then we're going to fold it up so that it meets the first crease. All right. And then now we've completed all our pre-creases in that sense. And then we're going to begin assembling the modular cube. What we're going to do is flip the model back over to the side. And then we're going to rotate the model so that it's vertical like this. Now, all we're going to be doing is making sure that we kind of form a little box shape by folding each edge up. Like, so I'm going to fold this bottom edge up on this first crease, like so, all the way over. I'm going to repeat that on the other 3 creases. So I'm now folding this one up. And then I'm going to fold the third unit up. And then finally, I can just fold the 4th unit down like this. All right, in our next step, in order to assemble the cube, we're going to be taking this edge and this edge, and we're going to be overlapping them. So this bottom edge, and as you can see, this is the edge where it has these 2 diagonal creases, right? That's going to be the crease, that's going to be the edge that goes on top, and then the edge that doesn't have any creases at all, these are empty, it's going to be on the bottom. So we're going to fold it like this. I'm going to bring it up so you can see. And how we're going to interlock them is you're going to take the top crease right here, the top flap, and we're going to insert it behind like so. And then we're going to take this side and we're going to pull it open and then insert it behind like so. And then you could just gently tap it so that now they're interlocked. So now we have this sort of shape. Now we're going to flip the model so that it's vertical and so that you see this diagonal crease right here. And if you can see on the side, there should be a diagonal here as well. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to pull this flap out a little bit so you can see the flap behind it. And then we're going to take this corner and we're going to fold it down, push this corner down so that it folds down on this crease. And we can just push the whole flap down inside the cube. So it should look like this. Then I want us to rotate and repeat that on this corner right here. So we're going to be folding this down back into the cube. Now, once we've completed that, we're going to squash the top of the model. Now, in order to squash that, we can see that there's a diagonal here that we're going to be opening up like this. And we're also going to be opening up this side like this, and then squash the model down on top. So when you do that, you'll have a triangular tab here that's smaller, and then a larger triangular tab here. And you can crease all the way around and make sure it's sharp. What I like to do is fold this tab over like so. And then I like to fold this tab down. What I also like to do is curve this tab, because it's very helpful when it comes to linking up and attaching the cubes together. So what I mean by curving is, what I like to do is you can either curve it like straight on like this, like make it curved down like that, or I like to bisect it from this angle right here. So I bisect it and then I curve it. This makes it so much easier to actually insert the cubes into each other. So that's what I mean by curving that tab, okay? Now we're gonna flip the model over and we're gonna repeat that process but just on the opposite side, okay? So remember, there's a diagonal here, there's a diagonal here. We're going to look behind this tab, this flap right here, and focus on this corner that we're going to be pushing inside along this edge. Rotate repeat that with this. Push this corner down. And then now all that's left to do is squash. So we're gonna open these up and squash down, like so. Again, we're gonna make sure all the creases are sharp. I'm gonna fold this tab over, and I'm gonna fold this tab down. And then again, I'm going to curve this tab a little bit just to make it easier for us. Okay. Then, once we've done that, I want you to look at these two flaps here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold these flaps in half. So we're gonna fold this edge so that it meets with this edge. Okay, so I'm gonna fold this up like this and pinch, and then fold this up on this side, mirroring that and pinch. All right, so now we've created our first module, and now we need to repeat that about 8 more times. All right, and in order to get that checkered pattern shape, I'd suggest using 5 of one color of origami paper and 4 of the other color, so that you can get that sort of checkered shape with the 3x3 moving cubes. What I've done already in order to save time in the video is pre-make some of the other cubes. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the yellow, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 purple. Now, in order to assemble the cubes, we have to assemble them in a certain pattern in order to get that checkered shape. And I also want to show, make sure that you see how these flaps are kind of pointing up. We're gonna make sure that when we're assembling them, these two flaps here are pointed down, like so, just for reference. Now, in order to make the 3x3, let's lay it out first of how it's going to look. So first we have one yellow. Remember, everything's gonna be face down. These flaps are facing down. Then we have a purple. And we have another yellow. Then we have a purple here, a yellow in the middle, and then another purple, a yellow, a purple, and then finally another yellow. So this is how we're going to be assembling the cubes. We're going to start with this top yellow piece. All right. So with this yellow piece, we have this flap here, and this flap is going to be inserted. I'm going to bring it up closer. We're going to insert it into the pocket that's under this this smaller flap here. If there's a pocket inside, so we're going to insert it just as so, and then I want you to take this flap and tuck it inside, right here. Tuck it inside this pocket. Like so. And then crease. And that's our first link. Okay. So remember, whenever you need a reference, this should always be facing down. These flaps should be facing down so you can understand the orientation. Next, we're going to focus on this purple. And please pay attention to the basically I guess from which cubes I go from one to the next, because the order really does matter in terms of making it easy for you to assemble this. So pay attention to the order in which I do these. So now I'm going to take this flap, insert it into the pocket underneath here, and then I'm going to tuck this tab inside. One thing I also do like to do, if you have like a credit card, a library card, whatever it is you use, or a pencil, this helps a lot too. But I use an embosser, and this kind of helps me tuck it in. Sometimes if my fingers can't get to it, I use that to help me tuck that tab inside. And then I sharpen like that. So now we have 2 linked. Then I'm gonna get this yellow here. And as you can see, I'm going to first start with this side, this tab here, and we're going to insert this purple into the yellow, and then we're just going to tuck it into the flap. Like so. And make sure you crease sharply. Okay. Then we're going to take this flap on the yellow, insert it into the purple over here, and then we're going to tuck this flap inside that. Like so. Now we have 4 of the units done. Next, we're going to go with this yellow, tuck this purple, this bottom flap of the purple into the yellow, right, this top of the yellow right here. We're going to insert that. Then we're going to take this yellow, insert it into this purple, tuck it in. Again, if you feel like it's not going in completely, I suggest using a card or something just to make sure it's really in there, and then crease. And that should be good. Then I'm going to take this purple, insert the yellow, flap into there, tuck it in. I'm going to take this purple, this flap, and insert it into this. Come on. Being a little tricky. And there we go. And then I'll tuck it in. So, okay. And then I'll take this other purple, repeat that process of tucking this yellow flap into the purple, tucking the purple tab inside, and just make sure it gets all the way in there. This can be a little tricky towards the end as well. What I suggest is making sure you can like kind of use your thumb to open the flap a little bit, the pocket a little bit, and it makes it easier to fold it in. Okay. And then we'll do this purple into this yellow right here. That crease. And then finally, we just need to complete this with this yellow going into this purple here. Insert that tab in, crease, and then finally do this last connection. Like so. All right. So now we have our cubes are linked. But what we need to do now is we have all these exterior flaps that we need to hide and conceal. And in order to do that, like I said, if you have like a credit card or something that you can use. It makes it really easy, and I'll show you the technique how. We're first going to start with these smaller tabs here on this right side. And what I like to do is simply just tuck them into the pockets. So you can just hide them into the pockets like this. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So those are now concealed. Now we're just going to do these ones left. And in order to do these ones is a nice trick that I like to use, where I essentially, see how they're folded a mountain fold like this? We're going to, or a valley fold actually. That's a valley fold, depending on what side you're looking at it, I guess. Then we're going to reverse that fold like so. And then we're going to use this edge and treat it as if it's like one edge. And what I like to do is sort of tuck that inside like this, and then I get either a card or I'm using my embosser tool right now, and I push it in, tuck it in like that to hide it. So that's how I hide those flaps. So again, I reverse the fold, and then I use it as that edge, and I tuck that edge in. You don't have to tuck it all the way in, because the credit card or the embosser or pencil, whatever you're using, helps you insert it. Let's do the next one. I'm going to rotate, do these as well. Two more. And our last one. Okay. And there you have it. Now we've completed our 3x3 moving cubes. And again, this can be scaled. You can do a 5x5. You can go up as many as you want. Just depends on how many cubes you want to make. And I really like this model. It's very aesthetically pleasing, and it's a really fun fidget. I really hope you guys were able to make this. I really appreciate you guys following along. Once again, this is Origami. Much love.